That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly learned here.
Welcome to the MOTN Top 10, where we count down our favorites in popular culture. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G. And back with me, the return from over the hill with the prize with two brown eyes is Tootie.
What's up? What's
going on, Toots?
Man, it's been a minute.
It's been a cool minute.
But I had a blast the first round with the Lebowski.
Yeah.
You can catch that on YouTube and pretty much anywhere else. If you haven't heard it yet, it's quite a treat.
Man,
again,
plugs,
I had a blast.
Dude.
I am excited for today.
The plugs.
100%, 1,000,000,000% excited today. More excited today than last review. So I'm ready, dude.
We are ready. You know what also is ready is the new flavors of Squishy at the Quickie Mart, because we are going to be doing our top 10 The Simpsons episodes of all time. This was a really, really hard list to make, actually.
It was very difficult. My top four were actually the hardest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just accumulating the list in general.
Mm-hmm.
I had to actually go to the Simpsons wiki and kind of just remind myself of my favorite episodes.
I did a lot of the same.
I ended up with like 50.
I rewatched them.
You rewatched them? I rewatched some of them too. I rewatched some of them too. Absolutely. Thank you, Disney Plus. Please endorse us.
It's so funny that I rewatched them. And a couple of them, I got emotional being a mom and seeing it from a different light.
Yeah.
Episodes I haven't seen since I was a kid. Man.
You know what's funny?
Insane.
Is like my adult sentiment kind of clashed against my nostalgia. And a lot of episodes what I thought was going to be on my list didn't make it on my list. And episodes that I didn't really care for at the time as a kid made my list because I'm an adult now.
I have one or two of those, yes.
And I got to see it in a new light, like you said. Mm-hmm. What was your initial interactions? How did you get on The Simpsons? Were you an early adapter? Did you come later?
Since day one. Good Lord. My dad came home one night. I think it was a Friday evening, Thursday evening. We lived in El Sereno. He brought home an autograph or a cartoon or something. He said, hey, I think he went to Tracy Ullman's house. I think he did her alarm system or something like that.
Cool.
So anyway, he came back with this cartoon. It's going to be funny. He thought it was a time. Simpsons was not a cartoon for children.
No, it's not.
But we were allowed to watch it. My dad was completely oblivious, and it was hilarious. So he let us watch it. And again, since day one, I think I was 4 years old. And not only did we watch the first episode, we actually ended up buying it on VHS.
Really?
The Christmas special, yes.
That's
and
we
treasured the hell out of it. We did, yeah. It's a true story.
Yeah, that is intense history right there.
Not to segue right away, but that episode is actually my number 10 episode. So,
which one is that again?
It's called Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. It's the pilot episode.
Yeah, absolutely. That is actually a good start, and we will definitely segue back to that in a second. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Tracy Ullman show was lo-fi Simpsons, right? The birth. And I was
alpha indeed. Yes.
The alpha indeed. And I realized that I didn't realize when I was a kid, but doing more research into The Simpsons, is that they're supposed to be anamorphic. And Marge's blue beehive hair was supposed to actually hide a set of bunny ears. And they were supposed to be like kind of weird human kind of bunny people originally. And in the Simpsons 4-player game that you can see at any arcade back in the 90s, she had a move where she would take her hair off and you would see the ears for like a split second.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah.
She would electrify or get executed or something.
Yeah, and you would see her bunny ears for like a split second.
Doesn't that happen also in the episode where they're seeing the therapist, Dr. Marvin Monroe, and they're
all in the
therapy.
chairs. They're doing the shock
therapy. Doesn't it happen for like a split second?
Yeah.
Not only do their teeth separate, but you see an outline of bunny ears.
You see an outline of bunny ears in their X-ray, kind of shocking, right? When they see the skeleton. Yeah, pretty much. That was just kind of my origin to The Simpsons, and one of those things I always used to watch all the time. And it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool now thinking about it as a full adult. I'm not even a young man anymore, you know. So as 100% adult.
We're middle aged.
We're middle aged. Isn't that awesome? Ew. The future is now, old man.
Right.
But yeah, let's go back to your number 10.
My number 10.
Number 10.
Number 10 was the pilot episode. That's definitely my number. It's going to be on the list because it was the introduction to this lifestyle that I now have till this day, this sense of humor, this hide that I have grown, that who knew I would have needed, that just magically appeared through this cartoon.
Right.
You know, my sarcasm is just, it's unmatched because of this damn cartoon. It's so confusing to the point where people think, what is wrong with her? Is she an idiot? Kind of. Yeah, I'm kind of an idiot. But it all goes back to me being deeply rooted in The Simpsons.
Did you ever watch The Tick?
I did watch The Tick, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was an episode on The Tick where he had heroes in training. Yeah, in that episode, he was training these heroes in training, and one was a guy who just threw baby dolls, and they can like repel back like boomerangs. But what made me think about that, when one guy was just named Sarcastro, and his only power was that he had like scathing sarcasm.
That's hilarious.
He would just stand in the back of the battle and just talk crap about everybody.
That is hilarious. That's me.
That's
that would be me. Yeah.
You are Miss
Yikes.
Sarcastro.
Yikes, that's awful.
That's awesome.
That's funny. I got to see that episode because I don't remember that. But
yeah, it was
funny.
That's one of my favorite episodes because
The Tick, is that the cartoon? Why are we talking about this cartoon right now? But
I don't know. It's my fault. It's totally my fault.
American Made.
Yeah, American Made
okay,
and
so
Deflator
that's
Mouse.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
the
such
Tick,
a good cartoon.
The Tick rules. That's
Okay.
hashtag watch the Tick.
We're gonna do the Tick review.
We're gonna do the Tick eventually.
Anyway,
my
yes. Let's get to your number 10. My number 10 pilot episode: Simpsons roasting on an open fire, season 1, episode 1.
Absolutely.
Nostalgia.
Those numbers.
It's all good.
But it's all love. It all turns into dirt in the end. Existential crisis much? Now you're feeling it. Now you're feeling it.
I'm moving on.
You're locking your hands, dude. My number 10 happened in season 7. And I thought this would be higher on my list, but this list kind of mutated into its own thing. And that's Homer Palooza. Okay. where they haul ass to Lollapalooza, because it's all very, the cameos are too, they don't wear out their welcome. Yeah, so Homer was getting famous taking cannonballs in the stomach, right? If I remember the episode correctly.
Yes.
So he ended up being kind of like a roadie / like performer at Lollapalooza.
Like a circus freak.
He was a circus freak, yeah. And that episode had so many cameos. I just remember them just being awesome, from them playing playing Insane in the Membrane.
Do you remember who was on the show?
It was Smashing Pumpkins.
Right.
It was Cypress Hill.
Yes.
It was U2 was on the show. Because Homer got beat up to In the Name of Love. That's actually my favorite mental image of that episode.
Was it that episode?
Yeah, because he was on the big screen. He's like, in the name.
I think that was a different episode.
Is that a different episode?
I think so.
Oh man, my brain.
Yeah.
Then they all ran together. Then
it was Sonic Youth.
Sonic Youth was there.
And Peter Frampton. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good episode.
That was a good episode.
I love it. And then Homer had to retire from being, and he went to go see Dr. Hibbert.
One more cannonball.
He touched his stomach and just went, his stomach just started vibrating.
That's good stuff.
That's good stuff.
That's a good one. That's in my honorable mentions.
Awesome.
Homer Palooza, season 7, episode 24.
There you go. What do you have for your number 9?
Number 9. My number 9 is season 8, episode 18, Homer versus the 18th Amendment.
Ooh, which one was that?
That is the Beer Baron episode.
You know what? Hold up. You know what? That name threw me off. That's on my list too.
Yay!
It's on my list too.
Yes, the Beer Baron episode.
Beer Baron. Talk about it.
Classic.
No, you won't.
I mean, how many times do we quote it since
we've known each other? Yes, since we've met. It's been about.
Get you, Beer Baron.
No, you won't.
It's full of classics. It's about St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
Bart ends up getting drunk publicly and on camera.
Yep.
The whole town is shamed for it. So they impose prohibition again.
They reimpose prohibition.
They hire the Beer Baron and try to detect who's bringing in the bootleg booze And it turns out it's Homer and Bart working with Moe underground. They have this big elaborate thing that
There's
they
this
do.
big giant elaborate brewery under their house, right?
And they turn Moe's bar into a petting zoo by day, and a weird seedy. What are they called? What were they called back then?
Like a seedy gin joint or something, like a speakeasy or something like.
Speakeasy, yes.
Is that that's the same epised where the entire front bar flipped and Barney
ends up in the gears? Yes, that is that episode. Yes,
yeah, because they turn it back. It's like, wait, Barney, where were you? He's all torn up and oily.
Yeah,
it was. What
did he say? It was dark down there. Is that what he says?
It was dark down there. Yeah, man.
That's good. You're number 9, Mike.
Oh man, jeez. My number 9 comes from season 4, and that's the I Love Lisa episode. And that's the episode where Ralph Wiggum,
that episode is savage,
has a crush on Lisa Simpson.
That's not on my list at all, period. But that's a savage ass episode.
You know why this episode is on my list? It's pretty much it's around Valentine's Day, and Ralph gets it in his head that he has this huge crush on Lisa Simpson. She has to let him down softly. And my quintessential scene from this episode is where Bart Simpson records the heartbreak.
Yeah.
It's like, if you pause it, you can find the split second that
and
his heart breaks.
Because he's not even like in love with her. It's just an infatuation she was nice to him.
Because she was nice to him that one time.
Yeah.
And you know why this is on my list? And this is one of those I didn't like as a kid because it hit too close to home. Because this exact thing happened to me when I was a kid. I'll tell this quick story. I was maybe 3rd, 4th grade, around their grade level. And all of my cousins had little girlfriends for Valentine's Day. They're all older than me, and you know what I mean? I didn't have a girlfriend because I was a Mikey Short Pants. I was a big nerd. But there was a girl I had an infatuation with. She had no idea because I just wouldn't tell her. So when my aunts went to like Save-Ons or something to buy candy, they bought me one too. They here, Michael, give this to whatever little girl you fancy, right? So I went, and it was Valentine's Day in class, and I gave it to her. I never forget her name. I'm not going to dox her, but I will never forget her name. And she gave me the most jacked up look and was like, ew, who are you? So what she did was she took my candy and handed it out to the whole classroom and didn't eat not a bite herself.
Oh, wow. What a little bitch.
And you could pinpoint the moment where my heart just shattered into 1,000 pieces.
Wow. That's so sad.
And that's the main reason why this episode is on my list.
I can't believe you put it on your list. That's so tragic.
Because it just it reminds me of such a crazy time in my life.
I've had something similar. I told my crush I liked him, and he said, ew,
yeah,
really loud. That was about it.
Yeah,
but that was like, well, what do you mean, ew, bro? That was mean. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much what she did. She was like, older, but she said ew, and then she gave out all my candy to the whole class. The teacher was just looking at me like this, and I came home destroyed. But yeah, I love Lisa, and at the end they became friends. Do you choose me? All that good stuff. Yeah, so definitely made my list for weird nostalgia reasons. What's your?
That's horrible, but okay.
Yeah,
I'm with it.
It gave me healing. I'm okay now, guys.
Healed. Yes,
I'm healed in the name of the nerdiverse.
It was healthy.
It was very healthy.
Cool.
Yeah. Bitch.
Who can relate?
Who can relate? Just bring down the whole episode, Mike.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, what's your number 8?
Okay, so my number 8 is season 14, episode 16, called "Excuse Me While I Miss the Sky."
Yeah.
That is the episode where they black out. They basically shut out the night for a long ass 24-hour period. I think it's weeks on end, but I think it has something to do with the Simpsons. Homer breaks something happens. It turns out to be the Simpsons' fault in some way, shape, or form, of course. Anyway, so at the end of the episode, the lights finally get shut off. Homer somehow figures out how to save the day. Again, I wish I can remember the reason why, but
Mr. Burns turns it on, doesn't he? Isn't it like a machination of Mr. Burns? I think so.
Yeah, it's a combination of Burns and Homer being
stupid,
being
right?
the antagonist in this episode. But yeah, it's on my list because it has the Don McLean
Starry Night.
Starry Night, yeah. Which is one of my all-time favorite songs. And the fact that they put it in this episode kind of rounds up the episode to have this most endearing, because 6 seconds before they even play this song, the entire town is trying to attack and kill the Simpsons because of what has happened.
Because of what has happened.
And then all of a sudden things change and they're just in love again.
And they're
with
all
each
in love
other.
again
And
with
it's just
each
the
other.
most beautiful moment. And
Perhaps
it was
you
a very
never will.
coming of age moment because every single time I hear that song, it touches my heart. And I think of that episode among my own personal memories and things of that nature. So it's just,
I was so
beautiful.
little when I heard that, and I didn't know why I loved that song.
Same.
For years, I forgot why I
Same.
loved that song. Like, it's because it debuted on The Simpsons.
Right.
And that was such a quiet, like, even as a kid, you mellowed out and was like,
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
wow, it's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And when my kids, we sit and watch the episodes all the time, when I can see them emoting the same way I did at their age.
yeah.
The same type of feelings and expressions and things of that nature. So it's really cool to see them watch and kind of have the same
That's
motions and
beautiful,
go through it the
man.
same way I did. So it's pretty
Little
cool.
feelers. Gotta love
It
it.
is.
Gotta love it.
You're number 8.
My number 8. Oh, geez. Bear with me, people. My number 8 is season 8, funny enough. And it's the episode El Viaje Misterioso de Nuestro Homer, which is the mysterious voyage of Homer.
Okay.
And this is the episode where they go to the chili cook-off. And Chief Wiggum, please pardon my Spanish. I'm rolling my R's, my R's. It's one of my favorite episodes because he creates the 1,000 alarm chili that has the Colombian insanity peppers,
Guatemalan.
the Guatemalan
the
insanity
Guatemalan
peppers,
insanity pepper.
grown in the jungles primeval from an insane asylum, right? And Homer has come to a point where he's been like this chili inspector, where he's going around judging everybody's chilies. And he's saying the whole town holds him in great for match.
They say he carved it himself
his chili spoon
from a bigger spoon.
Yeah,
And that episode is classic.
I love that episode because he
super
turns his
classic.
nose up at Flanders chili. He does.
Yeah.
And
Are you going to jail, Daddy?
We'll see, son. We'll see.
see.
I love that episode. And Homer meets his match with Chief Wiggum's Ultra Chili.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even get to eat the chili. But Homer thinks he's smart because what he does is he waxes his tongue, which I actually tried doing as a kid and didn't really work out for me. My mom walked in on me like holding a candle on my tongue, and it was just about to drip.
Yeah.
And I was about to just burn the shit out my tongue. And my mom just smacked me upside the head, and I
It
think
sounds disgusting, by the way.
it would have worked if she would have let it. It would have worked.
Would
Dang
totally
it!
have worked.
Damn it!
Yeah, it would have
But
worked.
Homer waxed his tongue beforehand so he could be the ultimate chiliest. But it defeated him because there's this cool scene, and the graphics are really good on it, where the chili just touches his tongue, and his whole tongue turns molten.
Yeah,
And he
molten neon colors.
And he just runs off into the desert, and he runs off into the ether. Right, he's just gone. And then we get to this. I have never seen anything in cartoons outside of anime that did such a beautiful, colorful, trippy moment where Homer was going through the desert and found his spirit animal, which was a coyote that sounded like the Wanderer from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I think one of their only episodes, not one of their only moments for sure, but one of their only episodes that was almost dedicated to an acid trip.
It was.
It was
acid
very
trip.
Fear and Loathing
In Las Vegas.
Yeah,
very
it was-
Scanner Darkly kind of.
It was that episode was everywhere. It had a lot of references to a lot of paintings.
It had Jackson Pollock.
It was
It had the dripping egg.
it was one of the most interesting episodes to me. It's actually on my list as well.
Ooh, so we get to talk about it again later.
We will be talking about it again in a little bit. But yeah, that's a good one, Mike.
That's a good one too.
That's a good
so I'll
one.
hold my other comments until we get there.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Spread it out. Got to spread it out.
My number 7. Oh, by the way, that episode was what'd you say it was? You said season 8?
Season 8, number 8.
Season 8, episode 9. Episode 9.
Thank you.
So my number 7 is Cape Fear with an E at the end. Season 5, episode 2.
Yes.
This
Yes.
episode is my number 7. I wanted it to be a little bit higher because it has one liner after one liner after. It's one of our it's not the introduction, but it's one of our main introductions to Sideshow Bob and like his whole arc kind
As
of
the
comes
villain.
out
Yeah.
as Bart's arch nemesis. It's yes, the gag scenes
I didn't have to say
in this
a word.
episode, right?
I didn't have to say a word. Just that noise.
The gag, the rake scene with oh my god, that becomes an ongoing thing throughout the entire series, which
Absolutely.
is so fucking
which is
amazing.
so weird
Yeah, I
and
love
very
it.
niche.
It's yes, exactly.
But that's a
it's
noise I would
perfect.
never forget in my life.
It's tailor made for this show.
Yeah.
It's just such a brilliant
It's
little
such a
gag
brilliant
they
little
have.
gag.
It gives you a little more idea as to how stupid Homer is. The Thompsons thing, where he's tapping on the detective is tapping on his foot, telling him, when I tap on your foot
like this.
and I say, hello, Mr. Thompson, you say hello. And Homer's just not getting it. I think he's talking to you. He's like, he just doesn't.
He's talking to you.
And it's just hilarious. It's just good from beginning to end. Definitely had to put that one on the list.
Is that the one where Bart tricks Sideshow Bob into doing all of Les Miserables or something like that?
I think so.
And by the
Yes.
time he finishes it, he's at the end of the river and the cops go and capture him.
Take him away, toys.
Take him away. Take him away, toys.
Do what the boy says.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, I do believe that's the same episode because they end up living on the boathouse, and I think Homer says something like, "The best part is if you don't like your neighbors, you could just move away,
just float away."
And then like all the other boats leave
Just
immediately.
leave him. He said it real loud.
Oh, that's so hilarious! That episode's amazing.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Number 7, Mike.
My number 7, man, I really like season 8, apparently, is You Only Move Twice. You Only Move Twice. That is the Hank Scorpio episode.
Oh, okay.
And this
you
episode,
quote this one often.
I quote this one way too
Yeah.
much. And it's just one of my favorite kind of episodes where it highlights the entire family. Everybody has something to do in this episode, which I love. In this episode, Homer gets offered another job in a different town. I can't remember the name of the town, though. And he leaves Springfield and moves the whole family to this new town, and everything seems perfect.
Perfect, absolutely.
Everything seems absolutely
Eerily
eerily perfect. Homer, of course, gets this new job working with Hank Scorpio, who's the best boss in the world. He's just so cheery and just accepting, and Homer's getting all this insane money. Bart goes to school and he's the smartest kid in the room because he's technically special. They label him as special needs.
Oh my God.
And so he thinks like, I'm finally not stupid anymore.
Half the shit that they put in a lot of these episodes they couldn't do today.
Not at all.
Not even close.
Not even close.
My God.
Lisa was like, I finally just get to be free and full of nature, and she could just float outside. And the house is self-cleaning. So Marge
has nothing to do.
And it's almost like a Twin Peaks episode because the downturn of how horrible things are getting is gradual.
Right.
One of my favorite scenes.
While on the surface, everything still looks perfect. Yeah, right.
And one of my favorite scenes in Simpsons history, she walks into the kitchen and pours herself a glass of red wine and takes the most like simple sip, and just the most ominous music just turns up. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. And she just looks freaking
mortified,
terrified. It's ridiculous.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I was like, even as a kid, I got like, oh no. And you find out that Lisa's allergic to everything because when she goes outside, she's just like miserable. And it's Chipmunk. She's like, hi, little Chipmunk. And it takes a dandelion and it just blows the spores in her face. And he just goes, ah.
Doesn't she swell up? And
she swells up.
Isn't she like at the end of it, was just destroyed?
And Bart is so not like challenged at school that he starts to realize where he is, and he's like, I can't go to school anymore. I can't be bad. I can't be good. It's like he was like he was in a mental institution. Like he couldn't do anything. Everything was nullified.
That episode is way more disturbing the more you talk about it. It's very disturbing.
And then of course the topper is that Hank Scorpio is actually a Bond villain in real life. And you get to see the downfall of his empire. And he's super cool with it.
Yeah,
he's like, I gotta go back home, man. My family's miserable. And he has this flamethrower.
Who's that guy who owns Virgin? He reminds me a lot of that guy.
Like Branson?
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that billionaire. And I love this episode so much that back when I was doing art, I actually did an art piece of Hank Scorpio blowing the flamethrower. That's
hilarious.
I'm gonna post it to this episode. Yes, I do. It's digital.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna post it to this episode and maybe make that the thumbnail for this one.
Ooh, I love it.
But yeah,
with that,
and am I mistaken, or is this the episode where he buys the Denver Broncos? Or is that a different episode?
I thought he bought the Denver Broncos before
this, right?
Way before this.
For some reason,
could be way wrong.
I tie those two episodes together for some reason.
Well, let's watch it. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, then we gotta watch it later.
That's pretty much what we gotta do.
Denver Broncos, but yeah, that's my.
Maybe you're right. I think you might be right.
I think that I may be right.
I think you might be right.
And they suck, and that's kind of a weird reason why the Denver Broncos are my favorite team because of that episode.
Yeah, that's kind of
nutty, right?
I think you're right. Homer's rich as hell. He owns the Denver Broncos.
If don't think about it longer than 10 seconds.
Holy shit.
Homer is loaded.
Homer's
he was an
fucking
astronaut.
Loaded, you guys.
You know, he works for a power plant.
I just thought about it. He owns the Denver Broncos.
And God knows what other weird things that they've tied into over the years. They're fine.
They're fine. They're living large.
What's your number 6?
My number 6 is called Homer's Phobia, Season 8. Again, with Season 8. Season 8's golden. Season 8.
Bomb season,
Episode 15. This is the episode starring John Waters, one of my favorite humans in all of life. Of life in history.
Yes, that's such a monumental episode.
It is a monument. It's groundbreaking. It's a pioneer. It's everything you can think of. It was way ahead of its time.
Way ahead. And it
spoke boldly to the situation. Homer's Phobia. It's about John Waters, who's obviously a gay man in real life.
Yep.
This episode was about a gay man in the show who Homer did not like, didn't give him the time
I
do believe him and Marge became friends first.
Yep.
Bart starts maybe sort of emulating things that John was doing because he's cool, because he listened to cool music, he dressed cool,
toys,
he was stylish. Right. Zap is one of my favorite fucking lines ever. I say it all the time because it's just one of those things. It's like if you understand what that means, you understand a lot more.
Yep.
It's one of those episodes. It definitely is.
And it's one of those things,
there's not one person that I know that actually hates the episode because so much comes out of it.
I like that episode as a kid because it's funny, but then I love that episode as an adult because you realize that Homer's a bigot. He's a weird bigot.
He's not perfect at all.
He's not perfect
as
at all.
Hilarious as he is, that really makes you face this guy's an asshole. This guy's
kind of an asshole. Mm-hmm. And through the episode, he learns to be more accepting.
Right.
Where John Waters saved Bart because he was going to get mauled by deer at the end of the episode.
And what I love the most about all of that through Homer's bigotry is that John doesn't bat an eye to it.
He's it's like water off a duck's back.
Right. It's not that he's oblivious to it, like he's stupid. It's more that he's not going to let it affect him.
He's not going to let him affect him.
He's still going to be himself.
And he would talk about Bart.
It's beautiful. Right. Yeah.
That. And Homer would get upset.
Right.
We work hard.
We work hard. We play hard.
Everybody dance now. Oh, be nice.
So many
Homer's
good
backing Bart
moments.
out with his eyes closed. It is like a scene from Aliens. I got a heavy Aliens vibe from that episode. That's a great episode.
Yeah,
I'm so happy you put that on your list because it's not on mine.
It's such a good episode.
Such a
one
good
of my
episode.
favorites. Your number 6 is...
I just realized my number 6 was a duplicate for another option. I accidentally put the same one episode on here twice, so I get to go to one of my honorable mentions and sub it in.
I love that. Let's do it.
So funny enough, one of my honorable mentions was the Shinnin, the House of Horrors episode, where. And one of the sole reasons this is my favorite episodes because there's a lot of quotables in this too.
You want to get sued?
You want to get sued? Give me the bat. Give me the bat. You know. Oh, he was like, oh, give me the bat.
I forgot about that part.
He was like, it makes Homer something. I don't know, crazy?
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do. And the only reason I love this episode as a kid because for a split second you can see Pinhead. And when he's like, yeah, and when Mo is the bartender, he's like, yeah, Homer, me and the monsters think you're kind of sandbagging it on killing your family. So we're going to let you out so you can finish the job. And he opens the door and all these horror movie monsters just flood in to go get him.
Yeah.
It's like Simpsons versions of Freddy Krueger, of Jason Voorhees. And Pinhead is there from
that's
Hellraiser.
right. That's right. I remember that now.
And as a kid, then I geeked out because I was a monster kid. So I was like, that's one of the sole reasons this episode stood out to me. And I'm more than happy plug that in as my number 6.
That's beautiful. And that is the Treehouse of Horror number 5.
Number 5.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's a great honorable mention.
Yep.
I love that one.
So that's my number 6 now. Absolutely. What's your number 6, Tootie?
Number 5.
Number 5. Yeah. Number 5.
My number 5
Number 5
is season 5, episode 1. It's called Homer's Barbershop Quartet.
Oh, that episode. That's another episode that just feels like warm.
Right.
That's
This episode
the B
warms the
sharps.
cockles like no other. The B sharps,
The B
Baby on
sharps.
Board.
How much are you doing?
What is the other song? Oh, Goodbye, my Coney Island, baby. Yeah, that one.
Goodbye, my Coney
Right.
Island. Goodbye, my Coney Island.
This is also the episode where we get introduced to Barney's magnificent singing voice.
Barney has and that's not the
Barney-
last time
It's
they
not the
talk
last
about.
time. It's the first time, but it's not the last time
Yep.
that Barney blows everybody away
Yeah,
with his.
Barney is stupid talented.
He's ridiculously talented and ridiculously drunk.
all the time. All the time.
George Harrison is in this video. Is in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a classic scene where Homer and George Harrison are meeting each other, and Homer says, "Oh my God, where did you get that brownie?"
Yeah.
Over there.
Over there. He goes,
And I think Los Angeles, they actually play those clips a lot on Sunday mornings when they do their Beatles show on the radio. So it's so cool. I get to hear George Harrison and Homer interact still to this day anytime I want on Sunday morning. So I love that they use those clips. I hope they keep doing it.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yeah, that's a classic episode. Definitely one of my favorites. When they do Baby on Board on top of the roof, it's also emulating the Beatles
Yep.
singing Don't Let Me Down.
Yep. And they're wearing those cool jackets.
And yeah, they wore those
It's
cool
like in the
jackets.
snow or something like
And
that.
you at the end, you see George Harrison looking up at the B sharps. He says,
Yeah.
it's been done.
It's been done.
And it just wraps up the whole thing from this beautiful, endearing story of Homer's past with these people that he still lives with as neighbors in Springfield to, what they are now. And, it's just cool that he gets to interact with the same people all his life while still having these iconic,
There's
just like
moments.
dip in here and there, having George Harrison there, who's one of my favorite people in my life.
Hashtag George Harrison.
So anyway, that's why it's my number one. What was it? My number 5. So
Absolutely.
anyway, it's a good episode. Season 5, episode 1. Your number 5.
My number 5, yeah. My number 5 is Homer versus the 18th Amendment, the beer baron
Okay.
episode. That's high on my list. It's my top 5.
Cool.
Because I love that episode. I love that they're making that. I love the beer baron and how dry he is. I love when he goes, "It's his birthday," and he has the birthday Sunday surprise with
This
the
is not a
fireworks.
very happy birthday.
This is not a very
for
happy
the
birthday
beer
for the beer baron. I love just that iconic. Homer's out there in the city because it's this overlook of
I love
the
that
town.
he hears him.
He hears
heard
him, and then he's louder. No, you won't.
Yes,
I
I will.
Won't. It's the best. It's one of my
Like
most.
why they're talking to
Why
each
are they
other?
talking
Like
to each
he's
other?
right
How is this
below you.
possible?
Dumbass.
It's so
Find him.
stupid. I love that episode.
Oh, that's so
And it's
funny.
not the episode where they get rid of him. They just tie him to like a plot on
Catapult or something, and
they just catapult him to Shelbyville or
Yeah.
something. But definitely just want to touch on that number.
I love it.
That
I
number
love it.
5.
Cool.
Classic episode.
It is.
We're getting into the meat of it.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
Here we are, number 4. My number 4 is here we go again with season 8. Season 8, episode 10, The Springfield Files, ladies and gentlemen. This is a classic. I don't even have to say which one it is. I just can say the title. You already know which one it is. Huge classic. Gag after gag after gag.
Classic.
This is one of the first episodes that I watched because I was watching X-Files, or they were hand in hand to me at the time because
Yep.
X-Files was very popular at the time.
Yep.
Gag, every reference, every this and that. Like I said, nonstop funny from beginning to end. This Leonard Nimoy in it, David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson. So I mean, they go all out for this episode. It's actually about Mr. Burns, who goes through this medical weird
Kind of
regimen.
life, like life,
Life
extending regimen.
Right, basically life
Every night.
extending.
Yeah.
And he's walking around, kind of delirious, disoriented, and he looks like an alien as he's glowing for some reason.
Because he's glowing because of his years and
in the nuclear
of radiation.
plant, right.
Yeah. I
forgot
bring
about
you
that
life. I bring you.
So Mulder and Scully to come and check it out. There's a lot of side gags in it. Moe's carrying a well for some reason.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's just, cheese at the feds. Like, they're just trying to get rid of a whale, like, in the background for some reason, because the
like-
feds are there. So
It's like in a wheelbarrow. It's a
Right.
baby orca. It's so stupid.
why there's a whale there? I don't know. But yes, it's just, that episode is just classic. This is actually, your look towards the skis, this is where that comes.
And I was just going to pigtail on that. I will leave my comments because this is indeed in my top 4.
Wow.
This is what is in my top 4 episodes.
Okay, well, let's get back to it. Let's go with your number 4. Let's go back.
My number 4 is such a good episode, and it's season 4, Marge versus the Monorail. I love this episode. Conan O'Brien.
We're going neck and neck here, fella.
I think we're going neck and neck.
We're going neck and neck here.
Help me with this one.
Wow, Mike.
It's so iconic.
Well, let's just talk about it because this is my number 3.
There you go. It blends right in.
So this blends right in. This is my number 3, season 12, Marge versus Monroe.
Yep.
Mike, this is amazing. Like, I knew we were going to go neck and neck with one of these.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it. 100%.
Leonard Nimoy's also in this episode. Yes.
Yep.
It's really cool that we get to talk about him some more.
Yes, because he's awesome.
His voice in The Simpsons is just...
It's iconic.
You have to... you can't have The Simpsons without
Leonard floating around, man.
Also, this was really hard because I actually wanted this to be higher on the list, but I had others. But Phil Hartman's in this episode. It's one of my favorite Phil Hartman moments. May he rest in peace forever.
The Monorail theme is one of the top 5 Simpsons songs.
It has to be the number 1
of all time.
That's what I'm thinking. Like
Monorail's just everybody knows Monorail.
Everybody knows Monorail. Yeah, I mean,
it's the best. Absolutely the best.
I think this is Conan O'Brien's most famously written episode too.
Yep, 100%. It just screams Conan O'Brien. This episode.
Absolutely. He wrote Monorail. He wrote
Monorail.
Yeah.
Who's going to save us? Batman?
Yeah. Batman's a scientist.
Batman's a scientist.
It's not Batman.
It's not Batman.
They're very awesome. Yes, Marge versus the Monorail. Such a good episode.
And the dude disappears into his hat. He just teleports because they're all in court and they're like in the courthouse.
The cosmic ballet.
Goes on.
Anybody want to trade seats?
You want to trade brains over here?
Oh, that's so good.
Fun. So what are we up to now?
We're on your number 3 now.
My number 3, The Springfield Files.
Okay.
The episode where we have one of our first early crossovers of X-Files and Simpsons.
Right.
Like Tootie was mentioning earlier, Mr. Burns goes through this nightly regimen of stretching out and being pumped with endorphins, and he just goes on walks at night. And Homer sees him and reports the viewing of a UFO, which causes Fox Mulder, and Scully to come to Springfield to investigate everyone. And X-Files was huge at the time. It was one of my favorite shows because it was scary but also fun and cool.
Yeah.
They had the original voice actors. They had David Duchovny. They had Gillian Anderson. Yeah. And they did amazing jobs voice acting.
They did so good. I loved it.
Scully's wallet has a picture
Cancer
of him.
Man was in the back, or Smoking Man, whatever he's called.
Was in the back,
he was in the
smoking
background.
a cigarette. Whatever, watching Homer do like a stress test. He was like, look at his undulations of his stomach. It's almost hypnotic. You open Mulder's wallet and there's a picture of him in like a Speedo laid out. It's so dumb. FBI. Yeah. Hello, sunshine. The earth says hello. I say that every single day when I'm at work.
Oh, that's when they sing at the end.
It's another episode that goes out on like a mellow song.
Right.
They're all holding hands.
For no reason. This happens for no reason.
I love it.
By the way. Yeah.
There's nothing apropos to it.
Not at all. No build up to it. That's just going to happen. They're all going to hold hands and then sing.
Of course.
That twisted ass
They're in the bar and Mulder walks in, cheese at the feds.
Yeah.
Oh. It is like an orca in like a pool of water.
And they're like watering them down with a water
down like a hose or something. In like a wheelbarrow.
That's
I'm like,
good stuff.
why is this happening?
Yes.
It's so amazing. Funny. I love that episode so much.
Oh, that's perfect.
Number 2.
My number 2, excuse me, my number 2 is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Season 3, episode 1, Stark Raving Dad. This is the episode.
I'm like a gasp right now. I'm going to let you talk. Go for it.
This is the episode with voice and guest starring Michael Jackson himself.
Lisa, it's your birthday.
Lisa, it's your motherfucking birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's giving me chills right now.
Aww.
It's one of the most iconic songs of The Simpsons. If you don't know Monorail, you know Lisa, it's your birthday.
How many Lisas in the world have had this sung to them on their birthday?
Right.
It's just one of those things.
It's your birthday. God bless you this day.
By
the way, so this episode is about Homer going into a mental hospital because apparently he has anger issues, this and that.
Yep.
When he gets to the mental hospital, he meets this big giant white dude, and he calls himself Michael Jackson. And it's actually voiced by Michael Jackson. And the only reason why this person's in this mental house with Homer is because he claims to be Michael Jackson.
He thinks he's Michael Jackson.
So he's performing for Homer, trying to make him cheer him up, make him feel better. Eventually they both get released, and Homer's so
enamored with him
because this person ends up helping Homer cheer up while he's in there. So he's very like appreciative, enamored with him, that he brings him home. And Michael Jackson's coming home with me. Michael Jackson.
And Bart's hyped because Bart,
he's super hyped.
He's all dressed like Michael Jackson.
Biggest
he has his glove.
Michael Jackson fan you can think of.
Right?
So they get there. The whole town's abuzz, sitting there in front of the Simpson house. So this gentleman comes out of the vehicle, and it's obviously not Michael Jackson.
Yep.
The whole town is outraged. They're so upset.
Yep.
This man goes upstairs to the house. The whole Simpsons family is pretty pissed off at him. Meanwhile, throughout this entire episode, it's Lisa's birthday.
Yep.
And nobody seems to give a shit that it's her birthday because Michael Jackson's in town.
Yep.
So Lisa gets overlooked. She's feeling a little bit sorry for herself. Towards the middle and end of the episode, Michael, this gentleman who calls himself Michael Jackson, asks Bart, hey man, what can we do? Let's get together. Let's collaborate something. So Bart starts making up some words, trying to sing a song to Lisa. And it turns out that him and Michael Jackson create this beautiful song together for, his sister at the end of the episode, which she just completely loves. And
she starts to play the sax with it, right? Does she start to play the sax with the song?
I think so, but I think that's more in the end credits. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this episode, this episode was and still is special to me, and was just as special to me back then because I remember feeling like her. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. I remember feeling like her, like I'm overlooked.
Yeah.
So when Bart sang that song, like I remember being her, like, oh my God, if only like somebody would do that for me. And nobody ever did that for me, but it wasn't even like damaging. It was just more like, wow, like it touched me. Like it made me feel like so like, oh man, like that's me. Like I'm Lisa. I know for a fact that I can get that one day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I really don't know how else to explain it except that episode still touches me to this day. The same exact way it did back then. So, also a little bit of trivia on the side. He only sang that song. All the other songs that were sung in that episode were not sung by Michael Jackson.
Sung by him.
That was the only song he actually sang.
It's kind of nutty how we have two episodes on this top 10 that just hit us right in the gut, didn't it? Just reminds you of where you were,
yes,
how old you were,
yes,
you're just right there.
It was very hard not to make it my number one.
Yeah.
But I have my reasons. But yeah, so.
Absolutely. So my number two, kind of a very similar situation where I was kind of going through a identity crisis at the time as a kid. And this episode came on, it just kind of gave me some weird affirmation that I wasn't getting from outside sources. And that is episode 7, Bart Sells His Soul.
Oh,
so
this is a creepy ass episode.
This episode both scared me.
Very good choice. I love that. Cool.
It's one of those episodes where I watch as a time as a kid, I thought too much. I was always overthinking, and the idea of a soul and of spirituality, which just didn't seem real to me as a kid. And I was questioning my own religion very young because I just was overthinking it.
Right.
I just didn't buy it. It just all seemed real fake to me.
Right.
And my mom.
Well, we're children. We're connected to the soul in such a different way. Like it's oblivious. It doesn't connect in our brain.
Yeah.
It's connected in such a different way.
I would go to church, and my mom and my grandmother, and we went to this big giant clown church. I'm sorry.
Clown church.
Which is, when we used to go, I used to thought it was Disneyland because it was just, I went to a super church as a kid, and it all seemed very like, it seemed like a performance rather than like a spiritual thing.
Right.
So I was like, I was in the episode,
I feel that.
And the episode came on, and Bart made a deal with Milhouse that Bart didn't believe he had a soul. He was just like, "What is that? It doesn't make sense. There's nothing in there, right?"
Yeah, you can have it. What
you can have it.
Yeah.
So he gave Milhouse a coupon for his soul, and pretty much gave him this piece of paper. And after a while, Bart started to slowly change. And this episode molded my personality so much because during that transformation, I was emulating things that Bart was doing all my life, like there's a part of the episode where he tries to walk through the Quickie Mart doors, and Nelson and his buddies go through just fine, and Bart slams right into the door, and he's like, "Wait, what?" And Nelson and them say something funny, and Bart's like, "Wait, why did that happen?" And then these small little things happening, Bart can't. He blows into a window. His breath doesn't leave steam. And Milhouse's like, I don't know what's going on about that. And Bart just keeps getting darker and darker. And there's a scene
to the point even Milhouse starts getting creeped out by him.
Bart
he doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. Yeah.
And Bart does this move where he hisses at him and runs into the darkness.
Is this the episord? Mom, Bart's cussing.
Mom, Bart's cussing.
Is that this episode?
Just to get him out the house. You know? And I do that to this day. I weirdly enough, I hiss at it. I go,
yeah, you do. You do hiss often.
Yeah, this is probably the first time I've mentioned this on this podcast. But yeah, I do weird things like that. And Bart starts to realize I need to get my soul back, man. This is an actual thing. Yeah. And this is also one of my favorite things I quote literally every day is when Bart goes back to Milhouse's house to talk him into getting his soul back. Because the first time it didn't work. And that's the "Hey Mom, Bart's cussing" moment. Yeah. Where he tries to go and get his soul back. And Milhouse is being a little bitch about it. Milhouse is like, no. He's like, no, man, you sold it to me fair and square. Yeah. It's mine now. I'm going to start collecting. So he goes back to his house. And there's this dude in this like radiation suit. He's just like, "Are you looking for the one called Milhouse?" And Bart's like, "What?" And he takes his helmet off and he's like, "Oh no, he was at his grandma's. He went to go spray for potato bugs." And by the end,
that's a classic scene.
I love that
one
scene.
Of my favorites.
And I said that to everybody.
Are you the one called Milhouse?
Called Milhouse. Yeah. And by the end of the episode, Bart gets his soul, and he's so thankful. He's so relieved to get his soul back, and it just kind of. And I felt like an outsider as a kid. I didn't, no brothers, no sisters. Right. I felt like I looked different from everybody. I just felt like an outsider, and I kind of felt like I didn't have, like I needed to go get my soul, because I never had it. So I went and I asked my pastor to do my reconfession of faith. Because I felt like I didn't have a soul, and I did my reconfession of faith, and I got rebaptized.
You got saved from that?
I got saved from the Simpsons
that
episode.
That is insanity.
And not to get too religious on this podcast.
That's cool.
But yeah, this episode was a big moment in my life, and I found my spirituality through this episode because I saw myself as Bart. Yeah. So that's my number 2, man. Wow. And if I'm no mind reader,
good number 2.
So I don't want to be a mind reader, but I kind of think I know what our number 1's going to be. And I've known you long enough that I think we have the same number 1.
We do not.
You don't think so?
We do not have the same number 1.
What's your number 1?
My number 1, season 8.
Season 8 was a baller.
Episode 9.
Yeah.
The Mysterious Voyage of Our Homer.
Really?
That is my number 1.
Dang, dude.
Yes,
I'm not even mad.
That is my number 1.
It's such a good episode.
It's one of my favorites. Now, the reason why it's my number 1 and not my number 2 and the other way around with the Michael Jackson episode that I mentioned earlier is because this episode was real as fuck to me as a kid.
Yep.
It blew
my mind.
All of the trippy acid scenes and everything were really cool and whimsy to watch as a kid. What struck me was the story. Marge and Homer, this humanized their marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
It humanized their marriage so much. I saw my own parents in Marge and Homer.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't even old enough to understand or relate those things. And yet I was sitting there understanding and relating those things to each other.
Yep.
So
that's crazy.
That's the reason why it's my number 1 is because this episode helped me be a better kid in order for my parents to have a better marriage. Yeah. Because I was convinced that a soulmate does exist and they're soulmates. And I was just like getting all these thoughts and putting all these like connections together. And it wrapped up.
I've never known that.
It wraps up my list for that reason, because this is definitely one of those groundbreaking episodes that helped mold me to be a better human in general. Find your soulmate, Homer. Find your soulmate. He's so sad and he's so lost. Yeah. Without his soulmate. No, not even thinking that his soulmate has been there the entire time.
It didn't click to him.
And it's a beautiful episode. Aww. It's just the most beautiful episode.
Dang it. Why is your number 1 so epic? You're going to make mine look silly.
What is your number 1? Tell me.
Oh my goodness. Okay. My number 1. And it's not in like my number 2 and my number 1 fought all the way up until this episode, kind of bouncing between raw, just like life altering episodes and episodes I just love, right? Episodes I just quote all the time. And my number 1 episode for The Simpsons, for the Simpsons top 10, season 6, A Star is Burns.
Okay.
Steven Spielberg, the film festival, football in the grind.
I love it. Football in the grind. Yes. Okay.
Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
I'm not mad at you. That's a good episode.
I love this episode.
That's a good episode. Barney, and once again, Barney shines.
Once again,
yes.
Barney is surprisingly creative as hell. And this episode was just so brilliant the way it was put together. Everybody tried to submit something to the film festival. This is the episode with Jay from The Critic.
John Lovitz.
Yep.
Yes, it guest stars John Lovitz. Yeah.
If what is he sung the Oscar Mayer Wiener song?
Yes.
Truly love with
I wish I were an Oscar Mayer Wiener. And he sings it with Homer and Marge and Lisa and Bart. And they're walking up and down the hallway.
And he's like, truly in love with me. And then the dog in the dog house, Santa's little helper house. Everybody's using their different ways to contribute. It's the most epic episode ever because he's like, get me Steven Spielberg to drop his name. And he's like, well, Steven Spielberg's not available. They give me his Southern Mexican equivalent.
Yeah.
And you find out it's Esteban Spielbergo.
Yeah, Esteban Spielbergo.
And it's the way, and he's like, Mr. Burns is trying to shoot a shot. And he's like, and I say this all the time, Senor Burns es el Diablo. It's the greatest. And that's the
I think that's the one where he makes them. You truly are the
king of kings. And Troy McClure's in it, and Mr. Burns wearing this stupid buff gold suit.
Excellent.
This is one of my Patreon. I have Simpsons gifts for all my Patreon options, and one of my Patreon options is the scene where Mr. Burns is wearing the super gold god suit, and fire touches it, and it just melts off of him, and he falls and rolls, and Smithers has to put him out with the fire extinguisher. It's just a classic episode, and it's one of those episodes that just makes me laugh. It makes me happy.
From beginning to end.
Beginning to end.
It's one of those.
It rises up my feelings no matter what I'm going through.
Yeah, same.
Barney is this quiet genius that's on the periphery of the entire series, and he shines every once in a while, you know.
But when he shines, he shines.
Shines hard.
These are memorable moments.
episodes.
Yeah, with
Don't
Barney.
cry for me. I'm already dead.
Me and Lori say that all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
All the
it's not
Finn.
Yeah, Finn all the
Finn,
time. Yes.
all the time.
This show
Hans
is
Moleman,
beyond quotable.
Football in the grind. I mean, it's just epic. It's my favorite Simpsons episode of all time.
So let's go through some honorable mentions.
Let's do some honorable mentions. Drop one. What you got for honorable mentions?
I'm going to just go through my list real quick.
Go for it.
I'm going to go
power through it.
So my first honorable mention is the first ever Treehouse of Horror.
Yep.
The Raven.
Yep.
Starring James Earl Jones.
Ooh, good.
Came out in October 25th, 1990. Season 2, episode 3. Yes, the very first Treehouse of Horror came out in 1990. Ooh. And it is, 2019? Ooh. Good God, y'all. The Raven, classic
episode.
And the way they actually did the cartooning for this episode was brilliant as well. I love that it was respectful, it was tasteful. It wasn't too silly, it wasn't too gaggy. It was actually a little bit dark, and still funny. Still Simpsons funny. Brilliant. My next honorable mention was actually on your list, Homerpalooza, season 7, episode 24.
Yeah.
Next one is Hungry Hungry Homer, season 12, episode 15.
Where he wears the muumuu?
No, this is the episode where he goes on the hunger strike.
Oh, right. He ties himself to a tree or something like that?
Yeah, he actually finds out that Springfield Isotope's trying to move to Albuquerque. And he goes on a hunger strike because nobody believes him. And he's like, I'm not going to eat until you guys actually prove that you're going to stay here in Springfield. And so that's one of my favorites because he sings I'm kind of like Jesus, but not in a sacrilegious way. And it's one of my favorite Jesus, lines, but not in a sacrilegious way.
Yeah, I'm with you so good. There. Awesome.
How many do I have? 3 more. Okay, real quick.
Okay.
Next honorable mention is Homer at the Bat, season 3, episode 17.
Mm-hmm.
That is iconic.
Shelbyville episode?
No, that is Daryl.
Oh my goodness, that's where he fell into the beyond, right?
Right, and he goes into the mystery
He
spot.
goes to the mystery spot, and Ken Griffey gets elephantitis or something
right.
like that,
that's
right?
It stars Roger Clemens, Wade Boggs, Ken Griffey Jr., Steve Sachs, Ozzie Smith, Jose Canseco, Don Mattingly, of course, Daryl Strawberry, and Mike Sosha.
Oh, dude,
so
good
it's star-studded episode. Hilarious. These men do an excellent job at voiceover. You can tell they're not actors, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah.
My last honorable mention is Last Exit to Springfield, season 4, episode 17. This is the episode where Homer and the company have to choose between getting a dental plan and having a party, basically. That's right.
Braces, dental plan.
Dental plan. Lisa needs braces. That's right.
Yeah,
another
100%.
iconic quotable. If you're a Simpsons fan, you say this all the time. I'm sure.
I'm sure you do.
This is also the one where Lisa sings that so a March day and night by the big cooling tower. They have the plans, but we have the power. And then Lenny comes over and he asks her, man, now play classical gas. And she
just starts doing it.
And it's just so good.
I'm right there with you.
That's another song that I play all the time now because The Simpsons. And The Simpsons just...
gas.
The Simpsons has this amazing soundtrack throughout the entire series.
I would love a collection of all the Simpsons
we
music.
really got to do a review of the Simpsons music. I'm totally down to do one of those too.
Absolutely.
But anyway, those are my honorable mentions. And that was my list.
Cool.
Let's hear some of yours. I want to hear some of your honorables.
Cool. Let me run through my honorable mentions for you.
Yes.
Perfect. So let's just start with, of course, season 5, Homer's Barbershop Quartet. That you already mentioned that episode.
Love it.
Also, I have a season 6, the Radioactive Man episode. The goggles, they do nothing.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
Also, a season 9 hitter, Homer. The city of New York City versus Homer Simpson.
God, I love that one.
Where he gets chased with a pimp. They never show that episode.
They won't show it.
They won't show it because
anymore.
of the twin towers.
Yes.
Kokodesh and crab juice. Also, one of my favorites is the Homer the Great episode with the stone cutters. We do.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
We do.
God, that's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Also on my quick list is Deep Space Homer, where he becomes an astronaut. We gladly accept our ant overlords. And lastly, I would just to throw one more on my list here. Another good honorable mention for me would be the Marge Be Not Proud episode with Thrill House, where Bart tries to steal Bone Storm. He's like, you better buy me 2 copies, Mom.
Buy me Bone Storm or go to hell.
Yeah. and for some reason,
I'm not sharing with Caitlin.
Not sharing with Caitlin. Okay, I forget the kid's name. But yeah, those are our lists. And that's our list.
That was a blast, Mike.
I think we've both learned a lot about ourselves in this episode.
I'm exhausted.
Oh, The Simpsons, man. And
was a blast.
What's great is we could just do another top 10 with a whole other list of
absolutely,
episodes.
Absolutely. There's too much
some
to
are just
choose
coming
from.
to mind now.
I'm already brainstorming. We can do top 10 episodes.
Man,
there's so many of those.
We could do top 10 Tree Houses of Horror.
We could do top 10 Tree Houses. We could do the music. I would love to do Simpsons music. I would love to do
so much stuff to do.
By the way, Simpsons music, a lot of it is done by Danny Elfman.
Yep.
A lot of it he is picked and chosen by Danny Elfman himself. So I mean, it's phenomenal stuff.
Amazing stuff.
We are blowhards for this show, have been since we were children. And I think anybody who's listening to this now is probably listening because they're in the same shoes we are.
Yep. This stuff, it affected your life on some level.
Yeah, for sure.
Some deeply, some
we appreciate
non-deeply.
you listening, like for sure. Because
really appreciate
I know we've connected with some people out there listening in the same ways that we've connected with each other today. So.
Absolutely. Where can we find you, Tootie?
I am at Tootie O My Hero on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. That's Tootie, TOOTIEO My Hero.
She comedian. She's a comedian.
I comedian.
She comedian.
What are you going to do?
If you like this content, you can support us monetarily by visiting our Patreon, where you can see all my Simpsons gifts of different Patreon tiers. Look towards the skies. Look towards the skis. Jeez, the Simpsons are burned into my brain. And that's at Patreon /MOTN. With $1 a day, you will be contributing to this podcast in ways unknown by human man and woman. But if you wanted to support us non-monetarily, we always appreciate likes on any form of social media that you happen to be finding us, especially on our Twitter, which is at MNerdiverse, where we do fun things like do MOTN haiku reviews. We do polls of the day, and we just overall yuck it up with the rest of the podcasting community. You can subscribe to our channels and subscribe to us on Spotify and leave us a review. We need more reviews. I want to hear what you guys think. Yay or nay, positive, negative. I just want good feedback. And you can also follow us however you're listening to our podcast. And if this is your first time listening to Masters of the Nerdiverse, I would like to be the first one to say welcome to the Nerdiverse. I want to thank Tootie for being on this show. You're always a ray of sunshine on this abnormally rainy day.
Thank you. I had a blast. Thank you guys for being patient with my kids in the background. It is a rainy day, as he said, and there's no way to kick them outside.
Hey, that's okay. If we put them outside, they don't have to fend for themselves, and they would come back little warriors with like fox pelts.
What's a little pneumonia? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't kill me. I was all right.
Thanks, Mike. I had a great time, man.
Absolutely. And as I would always say, look towards the skies. Look towards the skis.